federal government reassures Nigerians in diaspora of a new Nigeria. External reserves climbed to 44-month high of $41 billion. NNPC remittances to federal government hit 8 trillion naira in 7 months. Oil prices set to snap 2-week losing streak as peace in Ukraine remains elusive. Plus, Asia-Pacific market trade mixed as investors look ahead to U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Powell's speech. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Nneka Oku. Welcome. A total sum of 2.001 trillion naira, being July 2025 Federation account revenue, has been shared to the federal government, states, and the local government councils. The revenue was shared at the August 2025 Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) meeting held in Abuja. A communique issued by FAC at the end of the meeting indicated that from the 2.001 trillion naira, the federal government received 735.081 billion naira, state governments 660.349 billion naira, and the local government councils received 485.039 billion naira, while the sum of 120.359 billion naira was shared to the oil-producing states as derivation. According to the communique, in July 2025, petroleum profit tax, oil and gas royalty, electronic money transfer levy, and excise duty increased significantly, while value-added tax import duty increased marginally. Now, President Bola Tinubu is reassuring Nigerians home and abroad, home and in the diaspora, that his government is building a new Nigeria that would meet their expectations. Addressing a cross-section of Nigerians resident in Japan, the president called for the diasporans' contributions to accelerate the expected growth in Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbau Damwahab reports.
On the margins of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, President Tinubu opted to feel the pulse of his citizens in Japan and perhaps to elicit their contribution in the Project Nigeria.
Sir, on this historic occasion of your participation in TICAD 9, your presence here marks a profound moment of pride and unity for Nigerians in the diaspora, and we are deeply honored to receive you in the land of the rising sun.
These established individuals in various fields, including academics and entrepreneurs, are aware of the policy reforms and decisions of the current government, which they agree are necessary for growth.
And we've been seeing the reforms you are doing in Nigeria. It is tough to make the right decisions, just like a father tells a child, go and study. We don't want to study, we want to play. But the reforms you have done so far in Nigeria, the things you have put in place are foundations that will catapult Nigeria to the next level in the next generations to come. I'm really grateful for that. And we all personally look forward to going home and investing more in Nigeria.
With Nigeria's economy recovering and so widely acknowledged by global bodies, the presidential team also presented the opportunities available for the diasporans to key into.
Several years ago as governor, he was here and that the things he promised and pioneered are the things upon which Lagos today is developing. That is the kind of future that we're expecting for our country with this president.
Of our nation's oil industry is now developed by local corporates raising money from Nigerians in diaspora, raising money from international financial institutions, and contributing actively to the economy.
From the beginning of this administration, we have no product on the shelf. Everything was just prototype. And today we have 40 market-ready products. We're also building a 40-hectare renewable industrial park, an electric vehicle factory, and so many others. So Mr. President's policy has opened up the door, and we've seen diasporas and companies from all over the world coming into Nigeria, making commitments.
The diasporans attest to the gains of the reforms as manifesting with the easier access to and renewal of international passports, and President Tinubu wants them to believe in the possibility of a new Nigeria where things work.
Now, if that nationality document is reflecting the expectation of all of you, so you can be assured Nigeria will meet all your expectations. The changes that we embark upon is all about us as a people and leadership of Africa. Don't take it lightly.
Assuring of economic stability, social interventions, and efforts leading to the reversal of medical tourism, he invites Nigerians in the diaspora to come contribute to the growth so desired.
For the economic growth and opportunity that is available in Nigeria, don't stay away. Your contribution is very much in need. If we stay away, who will build it? If we don't join hand and work together, then we've lost the hope of being the leader that we're supposed to be. Your citizenship is in your passport. Your person is your character. And I can give you the assurance we are seeing the beginning of Nigerian rising.
And as the government strives to sustain the leading role of Nigeria in Africa, the president wants the diasporans to continue to project and protect the integrity of the country across the world.
Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves rose to $41 billion on August, the highest level recorded in 44 months. According to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, this marks the highest level since December 3rd, 2021, and signals a significant recovery following months of depletion, mainly due to pressure from external debt repayment. The reserves have experienced a strong rally in August, increasing by $1.46 billion month to date, from $39.54 billion on August 1 to $41 billion on August 19. This represents a 3.69% increase in less than 3 weeks. The growth has been steady across the period, with only minor pauses. The surge began in early August when reserves crossed the $40 billion mark on August 7, after closing July at just under $39.4 billion. By August 12, reserves had reached $40.5 billion, and the momentum continued, pushing reserves past $41 billion just a week later. Now the Naira appreciated slightly against the dollar at the official exchange market as Nigeria's external reserves rose to a 4-year high of $41 billion, according to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. How much is it exchanging for other currencies? Let's see. No doubt, available white-collar jobs cannot cater for the young population in Nigeria, which is why there have been advocacies on skills acquisition. With the acquisition of skills for self-reliance and export at the center of global discourse, I have in the studio an expert with a unique blend of legal insight, policy expertise, and real-world grassroots engagement, Olufemi Adenito. You're most welcome to Business Express.
Oh, thank you so very much for having me today.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, before we begin the conversation, let's watch this report.
Emmanuel Ngene, before his graduation from school, began searching for white-collar jobs. And when his quest failed, he created one. He is now a manufacturer of leather shoes using locally sourced materials. He has joined the League of Entrepreneurs, providing solutions to unskilled laborers and also creating wealth.
Everybody can be an entrepreneur. You know, it's one industry I see, or one phase of life I see that can accommodate everybody. You know, everybody may not do agriculture. Everybody cannot work in the civil service. Everybody cannot make shoes, but we all can be entrepreneurs.
A recent data from the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that the rate of jobless youths has increased to 33.5% from 27.1%. This means that 1 in every 3 youths between 15 and 34 years that is able and willing to work is unemployed. It is to address this that the federal government introduced different programs, one of which is the Digital Skills Program for Youths, which guarantees socio-economic development, empowerment, and employability.
No country succeeds without the artisan, craftsmen, and technicians. They form the backbone of GDP of any nation. No factory, no industry succeeds without this class of people. And again, in Nigeria, we depend so much on paper qualification. That era has gone. But with this group of people, this innovation, this initiative, the Nigerian in no distant time will be able to produce.
And leveraging the opportunities provided will ensure the creation of more jobs for sustainable development.
Thank you for that background report. And now to our conversation. Mr. Adenito, globally addressing youth employment and skilling challenges is seen as essential, yet there are skilling gaps impeding young people from gaining the skills they need. What are some of these issues?
So thank you, Reka, for the opportunity to talk about this issue, right? So the opportunity comes to one is about issues of training. Most times you find out that the youths don't have the right training to be able to compete globally with their counterparts in diaspora abroad. That's not to say that we don't have some youth who are doing very well in the tech sector and other, maybe in the music, the arts and culture. However, but we see that there's still some huge gap in terms of the knowledge gap, right? So, and there's a lot that needs to be done if the government, or if the government, of course, need to involve stakeholders in this whole conversation around trying to address the deficit or the challenges that we currently see, because it's a very important thing if we are to achieve in the race towards sustainable development goals, to achieve it, Agenda 2030, we must be committed first in order to bridge the gap in knowledge, that most of the youths, we see them who are, sometimes they're graduates, but they don't have that requisite skill in terms of competing with their counterparts in diaspora. So for instance, let's talk about, to put it in more perspective now, in the green economy sector, right? So we find that there's a whole lot of opportunity that is there. You talked about recently in the biotech, looking at how can even you talk about addressing food security. Is another aspect where the youth can also come up with innovative ways, right? Because prior to now, we know that agriculture used to be the backbone of the national economy and even for export. So we could also talk about maybe green economy process, organic agriculture, how then do the youth become more actively involved in the whole process of becoming more useful and more actively engaging in the development strive.
There are currently various skills acquisition programs across Nigeria, from government initiatives to private sector training schemes. In your view, how effective have these programs been in equipping youth with market-relevant skills?
So that's a good question. Of course, youth do have, we see a lot of policy programs put in place by the government, but of course there's another aspect which we must be able to track, right, which is about grassroots involvement and to do a proper monitoring and evaluation to see whether those policies program, because there's a whole lot of brilliant programs or policy initiative by the government, but effort do need to be directed in order to ensure that those programs or those policy intervention do have the right impact. So when you talk about the right impact, in the sense that it's targeted to the people or to the youth or to those who are unemployed, and the goal particularly will be not just to take them out of, not to alleviate them from those challenges faced by poverty, but to the conscious effort in order to reduce poverty. You know, we must be able to, the emphasis now would be on how to go about poverty reduction process, and so specific programs which the government is rolling out. Of course, some of them are brilliant, right? So, but the whole focus now will be how the government to put a more proper monitoring and evaluation process in place to keep its tabs on ensuring that the people in the grassroots, not just in the city areas or in the urban settings, those in the local communities and the local government areas do have dividends of government intervention policy programs in place for them.
Great.
Yeah.
There is this disconnect between what our schools teach and what employers actually need. So how can we align education with market demands to prepare our youth for the real world?
That's a good one. You see, there's this challenge about the issues around the town and the gown. So there must be, the way it currently exists, there's a kind of disconnect, right? So the government must, because if other parts of the world, in the UK, in the US, which I happen to have lived in, while the students are basically in the certain levels, maybe in part 3 of their programs, they make industrial attachment sometimes even more compulsory. Even in secondary schools, right? Particularly, I know of the UK, where you have the kids having to go and work with those local communities, and at the end of it, they have to get that is also part of their process of evaluation and moving to the next phase of their career. So I think this is something that the government needs to put in place in order to ensure that there is a constant effort to bridge the gap between the town and the gown, ensuring that there's a more skill acquisition in terms of entrepreneurial training program, and the youth must be included in this whole process or this whole conversation around the debate on making them understand the dividend of participating in such efforts, right? So yes, again, we find that the way it currently stands, there's not been much emphasis in terms of the curriculum, and much effort needs to be in maybe review the curriculum and also mix industrial attachment, even kind of mandatory, and that even it will start even from the secondary schools, and the students perhaps would be able to start envisioning other skills, and they will be able to contribute in terms of making them more productive and more useful to the economy.
So for a young person looking to stand out, how can they now bridge the gap between the skills they have and the certifications employers are asking for?
So again, there should be no more overemphasis on certifications or qualification, because the world has obviously gone beyond that aspect. But you know, one very good thing which everyone would know about is that the issues around information technology, that's IT, ICT, is very much increasing in demand, right? Of course, even in your home, if you are well equipped, of course, you will be able to even get some productive kinds of engagement. and the use of literacy in terms of computer. The government must also encourage that there is also so many technical hubs, and it must not be done in isolation. There should be active stakeholders participation in terms of the co-creation, ensuring that the government do well, even involving more of the youth, understanding that they need to certainly do have the right skills in terms of the ICT, because now we have different forms of innovation coming up, and the whole conversation around that the youth must be involved in understanding that IT certainly is the way to go. Information technology. We also have issues around the robotics, the AI tools, various tools which the youth can also harness from. And this can also be used to also tackle the current security challenges we currently face in Nigeria. Of course, we all do, of course, we know that the way to go now is to maybe adopt innovation, computer-based technologies in order to maybe track and monitor some of the other pressing challenges. So if we have to go into that aspect of how does the unemployment has also impacted on the national growth in terms of even the food security value chain, the security that we are currently experiencing, and way forward. So these are a whole lot of conversation around the need for the stakeholders or private sector to be actively involved in ensuring that the youth becomes the center focus in conversation around inclusive development and the right skills for them.
Mr. Olufemi Adenito, I must say it's been an insightful conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure having you. Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right. We now move to energy market, where oil prices were little changed on Friday, but we're on track to start a 2-week losing streak as hope for immediate peace between Russia and Ukraine dimmed, increasing the risk premium demanded by oil sellers. Brent crude futures were down 4 cents to $67.63 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude, WTI, fell 1 cent to $63.51. Both contracts climbed more than 1% in the prior session. Brent has risen 2.7% this week, while the WTI has gained 1.1%. Vietnam gold price rose to another new historic peak, maintaining this week's strong gain momentum. How is the market doing on the global markets? Let's see. Our Asia-Pacific markets traded mixed Friday as investors await U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's speech at the central bank's annual economic symposium, which could offer clues into the path of interest rates. And this is where we end this edition of Business Express, the last for the week. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTS channel. Business Express returns on Monday by 3 p.m. I am Neka Oko saying, keep thinking and doing business.